If you encounter technical issues during the broadcast, please call the Oregon Studio Hotline at 336-831-0864. Station's your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Duck's gonna pick it up, and here we go. Got him deep. He's open. He's got it. And he's gone.
How about that?
Oregon repeats as the Pac-12 champion.
Omarui for three. Yes! Oh, and a steal and slam for Williams. Duarte to the basket. The slam. For the third time in the last 5 years, the Ducks are Pac-12 champions. Outright champ.
Holy three. Golden volley ball. Left wing. Pow. Yeah, boom, boom. Regular season champions, and now Pac-12 tournament champions.
Welcome to Duck Insider.
We're just getting started.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College. Presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
It is a big one tonight. Oregon men's basketball taking on Colorado with an 8 o'clock start time and a 7:30 pregame show that you'll find right here on the Oregon Sports Network. I'll have the call, and if you can't tell, I'm looking forward to it. A chance for Oregon to avenge the previous loss in Boulder. And look, you look at Oregon's schedule, and the Ducks are currently sitting at 12-4. Well, two of the losses were when they were coming off a COVID pause. They weren't at full strength. One loss was early in the season when they were playing Missouri just literally hours after they found out they were going to be without Will Richardson for at least 6 weeks. And then that fourth loss to Colorado, where Oregon never wins in Boulder. But Oregon usually beats Colorado in Eugene. Home court advantage matters. It means something. Big game tonight. This is what college basketball is all about. I mean, this is the crunch time of college basketball season, right? Like, Oregon after Valentine's Day has been so good under Dana Altman. One of the best records in the country. Forget the Pac-12. One of the best records in the country after Valentine's Day. And the Ducks need one here tonight. Oregon currently sits in third place in the Pac-12 standings. Colorado is sitting in fourth place. This is also, I think, extra big tonight because the Pac-12 just announced this morning that the Ducks will be playing at USC on Monday, this coming Monday at 6 p.m. It'll be the first makeup game for the Ducks. USC, with their victory last night over Arizona State, firmly in first place in the Pac-12 standings. Well, Oregon does control its own destiny a bit. If the Ducks can take care of business against Colorado, take care of business against Utah, and then it's a huge game on Monday at USC. Huge game. Really looking forward to it. This is a super fun time of year. And Colorado is a great matchup for the Ducks. And, you know, I was doing a little bit of digging into that, how good Oregon's been and how Dana Altman, who we'll hear from in a moment, always seems to line things up here down the stretch. The Pac-12 against ranked teams since the 2015-16 season. Let me just go from number 12 up for you. Washington State is 3-15. Oregon State is 4-17. USC is 5-19 against ranked teams since the 15-16 season. Stanford is 6-25. Washington is 6-22. Cal is 6-22. Utah is 7-18. ASU is 8-25. Colorado is 9-17 against ranked teams since the 15-16 season. UCLA is 12-16. Arizona is 12-13. Oregon is 21-8. The only winning record in the Pac-12 against ranked teams since the 15-16 season belongs to the Ducks. Greg Walker, sports information director for the Ducks, who does all the game notes and media relations for Oregon men's basketball, sent that to me, and I just went, wow. Like, first of all, 21-8 is a great record against ranked teams in the last 5-6 years. But the only school in the Pac-12 with a winning record in that regard, That's crazy. Tip of the cap to Oregon men's basketball. It's on ESPN2 tonight, Oregon and the Buffs coming up. ESPN2. I'm looking forward to it in front of a national audience. The late game, a little Pac-12 after dark for you. And look, it is a big opportunity for the Ducks. We know that, and the guys know that too. I talked with Coach Altman this morning for our pregame show that you'll hear at 7:30 tonight across the Oregon Sports Network, and I know a lot of people wondering, is Eric Williams going to be able to go? Coach Altman said he hasn't practiced much this week, going to be a game-time decision. And you'll hear from Coach Altman coming up, his conversation previewing all this in just a moment. Some news around the NCAA today. Also, on today's show, we've got Oregon soccer head coach Graeme Abel. The Ducks departing today for their first road test of the season. Coming up Friday, tomorrow actually. The Ducks will play at Sacramento State at 3 o'clock on Friday. We got that with Graeme Abel for you coming up. Oregon soccer head coach, not going to want to miss it. The golf teams are in action. Men's tennis won last night. And Oregon softball, going to hear from Cruse and Brooke Yanez as the Ducks will hit the road again. 2 games at Fresno State this weekend, one Saturday, one Sunday. Got Oregon softball for you coming up today as well. And we'll take a look at Oregon women's basketball and their big-time matchup against UCLA. 5 o'clock tomorrow, 4:30 pregame show right here with Bev Smith and Terry Johns across the Oregon Sports Network. GoDucks.com/radio for where you can tune in your home market. All right, so men's basketball, adding that game against USC Monday at 6 o'clock. Talking about this Oregon-Colorado matchup, who better to do it than the head coach, Dane Altman? He talked to the media earlier this week about this matchup with the Buffs and what didn't go right necessarily for the Ducks when they lost 79-72 in Boulder. I feel like every time you head to Boulder at this point, I got to just be like, damn. And then you just wait for the game to be played in Eugene, right? That's what's happening. Huge, huge game, though. This is what college basketball is all about. Dane Altman talking with the media, previewing tonight's 8 o'clock tip-off against the Buffs.
What's going to be the difference, I guess, this time to get a win than the previous game you played against Colorado this year?
You know, we did not rebound well against Colorado. We got beat 11 on the boards, Matt, and I think that's going to be a big, big factor. Our transition defense was not good, and you know, those two things enabled them to score 79 and beat us. So we're going to have to do a better job in those two areas, and our execution's got to get better. You know, we're, you know, still not as sharp as we should be as in February. We're, you know, just not moving the ball at times well enough. And Arizona had something to do with that. Their defense was always good. Sean always does a good job defensively, but I just didn't think we executed timing. You know, and I think Will can improve some of that, but everybody's going to have to get on board.
Dan, I'm sure you're going to be pretty happy after this one, never to see McKinley Wright again for game planning purposes. What is it that I realize the series always seems to go to the home team in this one, but even his individual performances, you guys have done much better against him at home. Now, that said, obviously nobody's in the stadium, but that said, what can you do to better defend him? Because obviously he's one of the best players in the league. He may be the player of the league this year.
Well, his competitiveness is really good, James. You know, that's, you know, what sets him apart and has set him apart, you know, since his freshman season. You know, great competitor, rebounds, tough defender, you know, and gets to the line a lot. You know, some of that is him just throwing himself into defenders, but getting some calls. But no, he's been somebody that has been a pain in our rear. And again, the thing that I've always loved about him is just he competes. You know, 10 up, 10 down, it doesn't matter. He brings it, and you know that's something that's infectious and has really motivated, I think, some of his teammates. And that's why Colorado's been solid. You know, they compete, and McKinley, I think, gives them that characteristic.
Yeah, Dana, with just a little over a couple weeks left in the season, 5 games, you know, how do you approach it with your team? Do you want them, you know, focusing game by game, or do you want them kind of looking at the bigger picture of what it means to play successfully over the next 5 games?
Well, Chris, I think they understand that we have to have a good stretch here. You know, our job as coaches is just get them ready for Colorado. You know, we don't talk about, you know, the whole thing. We just talk about continuing to get better. And the next one on the schedule is Colorado. And we know we're battling with them for an upper division, whatever in the conference. They beat us last time. So, I think players probably have a tendency to look at, what can we do for the whole season? Right now, I hope they're just looking at tomorrow night. And that's what our focus is on. That's what all we're talking about is Thursday and trying to get ready for that. But again, that's just an old cliche that coaches use all the time. And I'm not naive enough to think that, they're not looking ahead, figuring out, how many games do we got to win? But my job is just, Colorado, and try to get them ready for that and try to get them better, and that's what I try to talk about the most, try to avoid talking about winning and losing, just talking about getting better. And if we get better, things will take care of themselves. But, players, again, the dialogue they have is sometimes different than the dialogue I have.
I just love that ending of that part of his press conference. Just sometimes the players' dialogue is a little bit different. Look, we all know this is a huge game. There's no secret. This is Oregon's big chance to get a resume-building win and then carry some momentum into the rest of the season. I do anticipate that the Ducks will probably be able to make up more of the games, not just the USC game that the Ducks lost. And I also think that if I was the Pac-12, I'd probably be sitting there going, well, which games do we need to make up? Which games are going to matter the most for the standings? Well, a lot of Oregon's games are the ones that are going to matter the most for the standings because the Ducks are squarely in the middle of this thing with a big opportunity in front of them to potentially still win the Pac-12. Every head coach interview this year brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a duck with cancer care you can count on. Ducks and Buffs coming up, ESPN 2, 8 o'clock, 7:30 pregame show on the Oregon Sports Network, and I'll have the call for you here tonight. Today's show brought to you by Shadow Hills Country Club, your family resort just minutes from home. Call for a tour today. Next up, Dane Altman. We got more from the Oregon men's basketball head coach as we'll continue to preview this big one on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Hi, welcome to the Spicy Drive-In. May I take your order?
Can I get the spicy chicken sandwich, please?
The spicy chicken is an excellent choice, sir. And to drink?
Whatever's fine.
Oh, may I make a beverage pairing recommendation this evening?
Sure.
If we are feeling especially bold tonight, sir, I would recommend the Mountain Dew with that. It's bravely unrestrained with a very alive aroma that pairs wonderfully with your spicy chicken. It's followed by a hint of zesty citrus flavor.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
I'm sure you already know this, sir, but remember to appreciate the nose first by giving the Mountain Dew a little swirl to relieve volatilize it.
What?
To change the flavor compounds and activate your taste buds to get them fully primed for that chicken sandwich.
It's delicious.
Now you're getting the hang of it. The muscular flavor charge characteristics of Mountain Dew make for an absolutely epic mouthfeel when paired with spicy cuisine. It is quite on point, sir.
Dude, it's a perfect match. Like they were made for each other.
So true, so true.
When you want to make good food bolder and bold food better, do the Dew.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield IMG College.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt US Kids, and the Ad Council.
I'm little teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pour me out.
This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Got a big one tonight, Oregon and Colorado men's basketball, 8 o'clock tip-off on ESPN 2. All of a 7:30 pregame show for you across the Oregon Sports Network. Today's show brought to you by North Fork Public House, open for dine-in, out, and takeout. We've been trying to coin this phrase, right? You're dining in, but you're sitting outside. You know, that's the modern world that we live in. NorthForkEugene.com. This is a huge game coming up. I think that I'm more excited for this matchup than I've been for maybe any other matchup this season, simply because, one, it's at home, and two, I just love these sorts of games. You know, you get number 3 versus number 4 in the standings, and that's a big one. Also, I realized Alex was asking about the Oregon-USC game. We'll be on FS1. Yeah, Oregon-USC on Monday will be on FS1. It was originally going to be on Fox, so it's going to be on FS1 with this makeup game. I'm sorry, I thought for a moment you were asking about tonight's game on ESPN2. But, yeah, it's FS1, the Ducks and USC game. And then I also see that Anitra has already beat me to it. So, way to go, team. Takes a village. Man, I haven't been able to say that because our interns haven't been here. That you guys who have been with us in a while, like, I have a few mottos. One of which is it takes a village. I say that to our interns all the time. Like it's like my favorite thing, and we just haven't had any interns, and I don't ever really say it takes a village to Scott. Yeah, it's just empty in here. So, takes a village. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate that. Community, baby. I'm all in. The Pac-12 basketball standings, though. So as we sit here today, USC sitting at 12-2 after that win over Arizona State last night. UCLA is at 10-3. And then it's the Ducks who are at 7-3, but a 70% winning percentage. Because remember, this year it's all going to be based on winning percentage. So USC is at about 86%. UCLA is 77%. Oregon 70%. Ducks are right there. Buffs right behind them at 67%. And so if Oregon beats Colorado, it kind of knocks the Buffs down a rung. Now, Oregon has still played a lot less games than these other teams. I mean, USC's now played 4 more games than the Ducks have. That's why that USC game, I think, going to be so critical to make up on Monday, 6 o'clock, FS1, 5:30 pregame show here on OSN. And the rest of the Pac-12 schedule today is fascinating. Utah, Oregon State in a matchup of a couple teams that are sitting like squarely in the middle of the conference. I think both of those teams still are within striking distance of that 5 seed, which would be a bye this year because Arizona is not going to the postseason. But, yeah, I mean, if you're Utah and Oregon State, you kind of need to win this game in order to still be within striking distance. Then Arizona, UCLA. That's huge. And to be honest, I think you're probably rooting for the Wildcats if you're a Duck fan. Oregon already has the win over Arizona on the road. They might make up the game against Arizona at home in the coming weeks because that's one of the games that Oregon missed. I feel like you're probably rooting for Arizona here because it gets the Ducks a rung closer to UCLA. That's my feeling. And that's going to be the game on ESPN2 that leads into Colorado, Oregon. So those of you who are getting ready for Colorado, Oregon in the nightcap at 8 o'clock, you might as well just watch Arizona, UCLA tonight at 6 o'clock as well. Cal, Washington State in a game that no one cares about. And then Stanford and Washington are the other 8 o'clock game tonight. And, you know, I think that if Stanford loses that game, it's just going to be a little bit mind-boggling. Though Colorado lost to Cal last week, so this is the Pac-12. My point with all that is you got some great games to keep track of. And this is what it's all about, man. The Pac-12 has been neck and neck. USC, UCLA have been the top of the conference pretty much all season long, along with Oregon. Colorado's been up there, Stanford, Arizona. But I feel like if the Ducks are able to take care of business this weekend, you're looking at an Oregon team that's in that upper echelon and squarely in that upper echelon. Dane Altman talked to the media a little bit more about some of this and some matchups tonight against Oregon, or I should say against Colorado for Oregon, as Dane Altman continued his chat with the media.
This is far and away the biggest opportunity you have left on paper. Just can you speak to just the magnitude that you certainly recognize that tomorrow night is, because whether the LA games get made up or not, maybe SC, but otherwise, unless something happens in Vegas, this is your biggest chance before the NCAA tournament. Yeah, no, it's a big opportunity, and our guys understand that for the conference race, and you know, they're smart enough to figure out that, you know, we need some big wins, you know, with a couple of bad losses. So, I think they're aware of that, James. I'm not going to talk about it. You know, we're just going to say, hey, Colorado's a good team, and you know, let's go swing away. And whether they know it's a quad 1, quad 2, you know, game, you know, we don't talk too much about that. But you know, I think they know that Colorado's a good team, and they have beaten us, James, and that ought to be motivation enough.
Any update with Eric Williams and his knee being available?
He has not practiced the last 2 days. I'm hoping that he'll be able to practice today a little bit, but it'll be a game time, Matt. He wanted to go against Arizona, he just couldn't, and so I know he'll want to go tomorrow, but he has not practiced. We'll see what he can do today, and hopefully, he'll be able to. Arizona State, he wasn't happy with his performance. I was, 9 rebounds defensively. Watching the film, he did a great job. He just missed a couple shots. So, I hope he's able to go, but it'll be a game time decision.
Dana, just historically, you've certainly carved out this niche as this time of year. It all comes together for you. Do you have a theory as to why this is? Because it's almost like clockwork. It's uncanny. I realize this year is super unusual, but everybody could say that for this year. And there are teams who are floundering and falling apart. And every year it seems like the middle of February or late February is when everything seems to click for you guys year after year. Do you have a working theory as to why that is?
We have been fortunate. We've had good players, James. That's, always the foundation of that. We've had good players. The team aspect really takes over this time. You're either in the team, with the team goals are the most important things. And if they're not, then you're in trouble because, some teams are just trying to finish the year. And, fortunately, we've had something to play for every year. And so the guys, have rallied around that and been unselfish. And we've found ways to get a little better. I'm hoping this group will be the same. The difference this year, James, is, we're getting healthy at the right time. We hopefully won't have any more of those darn pauses. And, they shut us down for 8 or 9 days and we can't practice. If we can finish the last 4 weeks of the season here and stay healthy, not have any more pauses, get Eric healthy, then physically we're in the best shape that we've been. And that will definitely help. And then hopefully the unselfishness and the team goals will be there that the guys want to finish strong. But we're going to have tough games, Colorado, Utah, and then we've got to go to Stanford and Cal, which has always been a bad, tough swing for us. We've got to go to Oregon State, which is never easy. And then, hopefully we get some more games. I still want to play a couple of those games, but that's, the league's decision and not mine. So hopefully we can, get a couple games added yet and just swing away down the stretch, get better, win our share of them, and improve as a team.
Coach, you mentioned some of the inconsistencies with the pauses and some of the injuries you've had to deal with. Eugene's kind of been a bedrock for you guys, and I'm sure there's parts of his game you feel like he could clean up here and there. But just what has he meant to you guys as a guy you could just kind of count on most nights throughout the course of this season?
Without a doubt, he's been there for all the games, which is encouraging. He's remained pretty healthy, which has enabled him to, I think in some games he's put way too much pressure on himself, to score, because he wants to be successful individually, but he wants our team to be successful. And so I think at times he's put too much pressure on himself to score. And so, but no, he's definitely been someone game in, game out, been there for all the games, like I said, which is just as important, and played through a couple nagging injuries, so I don't question his toughness. I don't question his unselfishness. Again, I think in a couple games he's put way too much pressure on himself to score because Chris wasn't playing or somebody wasn't playing, and he feels like, okay, I got to take the whole show now. And, you can't perform when you do that. Peyton felt like that sometimes in his sophomore and junior year. And I just, Peyton, you can't play that way. You got to play the game, let the game come to you. You go out there thinking, oh, I got to carry the load, and, I got to, everything's on my shoulders. There's just no way you can perform. I just don't think there's any player that I've ever had that has performed at his best when he feels like he's got to handle everything. It's just better to go play the game. And, if your teammates need you, maybe you step up at some point during the game, but you can't go into the game going, I got to carry the load. Just too much pressure for any one guy.
I love that perspective. And I thought it was cool that Coach Altman said that Peyton Pritchard did that a little bit his sophomore year and then a bit his junior year. And then when Peyton just started letting it go, that was when Oregon went on that 10-game winning streak all the way into the Sweet 16. I mean, I think we all saw that. And I feel like Chris Duarte, it's a great point from Coach. He's starting to kind of feel that too, that he doesn't have to put that much pressure on himself. Big one tonight. Oregon, Colorado. Jack says boards are going to be key. Boards are always the key for this team, man. Ducks are ridiculously good when they out-rebound the opponent under Dana Altman. And look, they did not rebound the ball well when they were in Boulder. They lost on the boards by 11. Ducks, if the Ducks out-rebound Colorado by 11, Oregon wins by 10. I'm saying that right now. I think that's a real key here for the Ducks. Real key for the Ducks. Jack also asking, any chance of interviewing Bill Walton on the show? Probably could make it happen. I could call Bill. I've talked to Bill a couple times this year now because normally I would be sitting with Bill at shoot-around. I'm one of the few people that it's either usually me, Josh Jamison, or Greg Walker. We kind of have a rotation of who sits at shoot-around with Bill Walton. And I haven't been able to do that because Bill hasn't been here in person. And, yeah, I've talked to him a couple times. I feel like I might be able to be like, Bill, come on. Though I'll say this, Jack. You're going to be excited about him coming on. And then I'll tell you right now, the other half of the audience will not be. I mean, Bill is like the most polarizing broadcaster I've ever seen. Like, seriously, name me another broadcaster that is as polarizing as Bill Walton. It's either people love him or people are like, no. Scott says Joe Buck. I don't think so. I don't think Joe Buck fundamentally is a very, very good broadcaster. He's just not like, it's not over the top. Mitchell Lee says Gus Johnson. Yeah, I could see that. His style is, he gets out there and goes at it. But I think Bill, and maybe this is just because I'm in the Pac-12 footprint, but, Bill is the most polarizing broadcaster, I think. Tobiah likes him. Alex says Joe Buck hates my Packers. I think Joe Buck hates every team in the NFL at this point. Everybody probably feels that way. Maybe we will. I'll have to see as we get closer to basketball postseason. Also, some news from the NCAA today. They've extended the recruiting dead period through May 31st in response to the pandemic and this virtual recruiting landscape that we're all in. It's going to continue. Graeme Abel, head coach Oregon Soccer. We're going to talk with him next and then get back to a little more basketball conversation, too. This is a big one tonight. Dave says Dick Vitale. Who doesn't like Dick Vitale? I love Dickie V. Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Steven.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
Ugh, what are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
What are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. It's been a long time since we've had an adventure in the forest.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Stephen. It took me a long time to get here.
You're right. I should get out.
Yeah, the forest is not that far away.
Hey, Mom!
Come to the forest where the more adventurous you lives. Check out discovertheforest.org for cool places nearby. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
It's important to buckle up your kids.
I know.
Sometimes car seats can be complicated.
I know.
And if your child's in the wrong seat and you get into a crash,
I know.
it could lead to a serious injury.
I know.
So you're 100% sure you have the right car seat for your child's age and size?
I don't know.
Don't think you know. Know you know. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Make sure you have the right car seat. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack inside the Country Financial Studio. So Gloria says, I agree about Bill Walton. I do like that he's interested in history and the geographic area. Okay, I just want to say, I've said this before. I've worked with Bill. You know, I see him when he's not being Bill Walton that everyone knows, you know. If everyone in the world was as curious as Bill Walton is, we would all be living in a tremendously better world. I think it was Jerry Allen who said that to me for the first time maybe like 8 years ago. And I remember thinking like, yep, that hit the nail on the head. That absolutely hit the nail on the head. Anyway, Ducks in action tonight against the Buffs. 8 o'clock tip on ESPN2. Soccer is on the road. We had the chance to catch up with Graeme Abel before they're hitting the road today. 2 weeks ago, they opened things up. And they had a weekend off with this weird scheduling. Now they're going on the road to Sacramento State. First road test, and comes after a first victory. We talk a little Oregon soccer. Oregon soccer head coach Graeme Abel joining us. Coach, let's start first with just congratulations. You're still undefeated as the head coach of the Ducks. Congrats on that first win. That had to feel great last weekend.
Yeah, no, it was awesome just to play. You know what I mean? Our kids have been waiting for it for so long, and they just love getting out there and playing. And you know, it was a time just to kind of let them get loose. I mean, we've been under all these restrictions and this and that, and so it was more of a reward for our kids, and they enjoyed every minute of it.
All right, though, tell us, were there some nerves pregame?
In all honesty, no, because I love preparation. That's one of the things that I'm big on it. And we had kind of ran through the warm up. We had ran through all the scenarios that we would do in a game. 2-3 times through training. We'd set up 10-minute game, and we'd go through proper warm up, all those different pieces, not only for us as a coaching staff, but for the kids as well. So once we were able to set foot on the field for a proper game day, it was just normal for us. So I wasn't nervous. I was just looking forward to it, and I was so curious to see where our kids were at, and it was just great to see them out there.
How true is it that coaches love practice more than they love games, and players love games infinitely more than they love practice?
We try to make it where they love practice all the time, but I don't know. I mean, our philosophy here is, let's just keep moving forward. It's as simple as that. And, let's make sure that every single day we're evolving. So I love both of them. You know what I mean? Anytime we can get on the field and watch them play, and we have to make sure that, we don't treat games as, a single entity, that, it's part of the overall scheme of things, and it's part of the overall picture. So practice games, they're all good with me.
Coming off that win, though, Coach, I'm curious for your lineup. I mean, you had now one game where you got to see your team in action against someone else. What'd you learn about your squad after opening weekend and now after another week or so of practice?
You know what? There's players that didn't get on the field against Gonzaga that can contribute for us. It's as simple as that. And, we've had those conversations. We see it every single day in practice. And we were able to learn some things about our system a little bit, and in terms of things we need to tweak, things we need to do better. Some things we did really well. I think once we got past the first half and we kind of knocked some of the cobwebs off and stuff like that, I thought our kids executed really, really well and controlled the game. And there was some maturity in that performance as well, which for a first game out, and that was really pleasing.
You used 4 subs, if memory serves. How many do you want to have ready to go in any given game? How many do you plan to use, I guess, on an average throughout the season?
I don't ever really think about it. What we do prior to the game is we go through all our scenarios that could happen in a game, and go through scenarios that could happen in a pre-game, just so if we make any type of decision, it's done without emotion. It's already pre-planned in terms of what we know. And like I said, really confidence in the depth that we have, throughout the team, with, all of our players. So I don't know if there is an answer right now in terms of how deep we'll go or how many subs we'll use. And, the best thing about it is we have student athletes ready to go when needed.
And some of that's got to play out throughout the course of the season, right? I mean, you need to see a few more games to really know what you have, don't you?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we try to make practice as competitive as possible, and we make things, we do different scenarios and, different situations in practice to try and get an idea of that. But I mean, nothing's like a game. We all know that, the emotion of the game, with or without fans. Obviously, it's better with fans, but right now, without fans, it's still a game. And so that brings out some different things, and we just continue to evolve on them day in, day out in practice.
You're going to get a lot of questions, I'm sure, about Allie Cook, and you have after a tremendous goal like that. Coach, I thought even though just throughout the course of, and this is my amateur eyes looking on, but throughout the course of the first competition, I felt like she just has a really great nose for the ball, and she's efficient when she goes after it. What's the next step for Allie Cook's career?
You know what? Number one, Allie's a great kid. You know what I mean? Great kid, unbelievable student, and she's got a huge, huge potential. I still feel as though there's so much growth for her. And we're lucky. I mean, we have so many really good players that can play across the front. Lexi, we're starting to see that, Lexi's kind of kicking to groove. Jordan Wormdahl, Paige Alexander, Callan Harrington, Eden Hardy, Maggie Lacey. I mean, I go on and on. I mean, we've got a really good group of forwards, and each one of them are pushing the other one day in, day out.
What about your defense, Coach? I wanted to ask you first about in goal. I mean, it's a pretty impressive accomplishment for a goalkeeper as a freshman to be the first freshman to record a win in a season opener since 2005. That's what Leah Freeman was able to do. Break down her and net for us.
Leah is someone I knew about when I was in my last position with US Soccer. So I knew about Leah back then, and she came in, and, Thomas Osborne, who works with our goalkeepers, does a great job with both Leah and Charlotte. And then Leah and Charlotte have been able to push each other, through the fall, through, this winter, and the both of them have just continued to get better and better. But it was a nice, mature performance from Leah in the game, and we got some things where she can certainly evolve, and some things she did exceptionally well. But we've got 2 really good goalkeepers in our program here, and really confident in both of them.
I feel like the communication between a goalkeeper and the rest of the defense is always so critical. I mean, am I wrong in feeling that way, that that's a big part of what you're hoping a keeper brings to the table?
Yeah, you want, we call it presence. We want that type of presence and the calming influence. And, like I said, both Charlotte and Leah have, game-winning moments in them. You know what I mean? And we've seen that throughout, practice. So that calming influence for sure, the communication piece, and then when needed, make a big save and help us win a game.
Graeme Abel joining us, Oregon Soccer head coach. The rest of the defense, Coach, you happy with the defensive performance? I mean, you got a shutout, and then some of the keys now moving forward for your back line.
Yeah, I mean, number one, we have a philosophy we defend as a team. You know what I mean? And we, if you look at, especially in the second half of the game, I thought we were very good in terms of snuffing out a lot of their opportunities, killing it earlier, higher up the field. So with our midfielders doing work, our 6 with Caitlin Short, or whether it's Brooke Schultz doing work, and and then our 2s and 3s with whether it's Mia Palmer, whether it's Chai, whether it's Meg Rooker, whoever it may be that's on the field, they just did a really nice job of killing things higher up the field. And so if we can kill it, in the middle of the field as opposed to letting a kid down by our 18-yard box, then that's a lot more helpful.
Sacramento State, Friday, 3 o'clock. Scouting report on Sac State and some of your keys here in your first road test of the season.
It's a tough game. It's a really tough game. I think they've lost once or twice in the last 20 games. Athletic team, really direct. They've got physical players all over the field. So it's another good challenge for us. We have to be, in order to get this program to where, to catch up to the rest of our programs at Oregon, we have to be a team that can go on the road and pick up wins. So it's a really good challenge for us. So we're really looking forward to the game.
You guys have now had a couple of these one-offs. Does it change your strategy as a coach when you're not also preparing for a second game in a weekend? I don't know. It's not like you're saving energy, I suppose, in game one, but you kind of know what I'm getting at. Does it change the approach at all?
I think for me, we treat each game individually. The most important game is the one that's right in front of you. It's like the most important practice is the one that's right in front of you. So we have to take care of business with regards to the game that's right in front of us. And then from there, it's all about recovery. And, we've got, every toy and modality in the world here at Oregon to make sure that we can get our kids to recover. And then if we have a Sunday game, then it's next, we get after that game as well. So yeah, we treat every game as a single entity and then worry about the next game when it comes our way.
First road test. There's so much more on everybody's plates now traveling in this environment. Have you prepared the team for that, Coach? You guys talking about that heading into the first road trip?
Yeah, we were lucky. Mario got on a phone call with all the head coaches to share his wisdom and his experiences through the football season in terms of what those guys learned. So, we took their advice on a number of things, and we've been very transparent with our student athletes in terms of, hey, listen, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. This is why we're going to do it. This is, the way we have to do things. It's a privilege that we get to play right now. And we've got to keep taking care of business to make sure that we can continue to play. So just very transparent in all those pieces to make sure we're all on the right page and we can continue this thing moving forward in the right way.
Sacramento State, 3 o'clock on Friday for Oregon Soccer. Graeme Abel, head coach, thanks for taking the time. Best of luck and safe travels. We'll talk to you again soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Joey.
Coach Abel, kind enough to join us on the University of Oregon Alumni Association guest line. Ducks are in action again this weekend. Sacramento State, 3 o'clock on Friday. Oregon Soccer traveling down there this afternoon and into this evening, and then coming right back, I understand, Friday evening after they wrap things up, hopefully with their second victory of the season. Up next, talking a little Oregon softball with Haley Cruse. They're hitting the road as well on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Dear Wallet, you can't stop a new 2021 Toyota, no matter the weather. The Camry all-wheel drive comes out to play. Snowy hills don't stand a chance against the RAV4, and everyone will be comfy in the Highlander. See you in the snow. Toyota. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota. Let's go places.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear Wallet, you can't stop a new 2021 Toyota, no matter the weather. The Camry all-wheel drive comes out to play. Snowy hills don't stand a chance against the RAV4, and everyone will be comfy in the Highlander. See you in the snow. Toyota. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota. Let's go places.
This is the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Listen and imagine. It takes 5 seconds to send a text, and for those 5 seconds, you're driving blind. Life is worth more than a text. Stay alive. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Everybody buckle up. Mom. Buckle up.
Let's go.
Buckle up.
Can we go to the store? Mom,
buckle
can we get
up.
some ice cream?
Everybody, buckle up.
A lot goes on in the car, but you're in control. So only move when you hear the click that says they're buckled in. Never give up until they buckle up. Learn more at safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack inside the Country Financial Studio. Yesterday, while we were actually finishing up Duck Insider, Oregon softball met with the media as Haley Cruse, the first of 2 interviews for you today. She talked about the opening to the season. Ducks are off to a 5-0 start, and they're heading to Fresno State for 2 this weekend. Haley Cruse chatting with the media.
Big picture, what was it like to take the field? What were the emotions that you went through last week? And how did you think the team in general, but specifically the newcomers as well, kind of handled getting going?
I think at first we were all really excited, and because of that I think we were a little anxious, and there were definitely some nerves, and it took us a little while to knock the rust off, I think, and to really settle in and feel comfortable. But once we did, it felt like a continuation of last season, and it felt really good to be back on the field. And I think the newcomers handled it really well and took advantage of their opportunities and really contributed to our team this weekend.
Haley, I couldn't tell in the videos, at least the ones on that Oregon Twitter put out, did you guys have to wear your mask on the field or at bat? And if so, what was that like? I know you guys have been doing it in practice, so was it kind of natural?
Yeah, we've been wearing it consistently in practice, and we're not required to wear it while we're on the field, but we are in the dugout. So it's just personal preference, but we're definitely used to it. So it's not something that plays a factor in how we play.
Looking at how deep this pitching staff now kind of is, a team perfect game too, and like the first 3 that you played. I mean, how much of a difference does that make for you guys, not only defensively, but when you're in the box, knowing that, you know, it's not all on your offense to have to basically win the game here?
Yeah, it makes a huge difference in our team's confidence because we all have confidence in our entire pitching staff. So if one person's not getting it done for whatever reason, then we know we have a lot of people who can come in and get the job done. So that's been really huge for our defense, but as well as our offense, because it isn't all on our backs. I mean, we want to support them as much as possible, but if for some reason we don't, we know that they're going to keep us in the game.
Haley, what was it that were you just seeing the ball really well with all the doubles in particular? What was it that you were able to just obviously have a lot of extra base hits and a lot of success this past weekend?
Yeah, I felt like I was seeing the ball well and I was attacking the right pitches, but I've been putting a lot of work in this offseason on trying to elevate the ball a little bit more. I'm usually a singles hitter typically, so I've been working really hard on that, and it was nice to see it pay off in the game.
Any questions you had that you felt like were answered or things you were wondering? I wondered if, in particular, when you have 4 run rule games and one that's not, is that the one that you learn the most from, or that's the one that's most revealing for you guys?
I think that game was a good challenge for us, and I think it's something that we needed because while we were run ruling teams, I don't think we were playing at our highest level yet, and I think we needed to be kicked in the butt a little bit and, you know, light a fire under us. And I think that was a good game for us to come from behind and make sure that we're still locked in no matter who we're playing, what the score is. So I think that was a good game for us.
What were you thinking watching Alyssa there come through with those 2 hits? Because I'm sure you've seen some of it in practice, but that's her first weekend. Those are her first games, and 2 of her biggest at-bats. She comes through in huge spots for you guys.
She brings a great energy to our team, and we have seen it in practice. And I think all weekend we were just waiting for it to work out for her. And I was just excited for her to get some hits under her belt. So hopefully she settles in a little bit more. And she is a superstar, and I know she's going to continue to build off of that.
You got some major Pac-12 opponents coming up here in about a week and a half. And, you know, you don't get Clearwater and you don't get all of these other major tournaments in the non-conference to really hash things out. So, you know, for a weekend like this, you know, how much emphasis is there put on really getting things right before you see one of the premier teams in the conference in 11 days?
Yeah, I think we're really going to get after it this weekend and make sure that we're doing what we need to do to get ready for the next weekend as well. But we can't take this weekend lightly either. We can't look too far ahead. And I think we just need to focus on how we're going to approach this weekend and how we're going to get better.
Tough question, Haley, because you were really the exception to the rule on this. But if there was anything for Coach to harp on offensively, I would think that the first time through the lineup, as a whole, you guys didn't have that much success. Now, you were like the exception to the rule because I think you got on base all but once the first time through. But you were stranded several times other than game 3 against Weaver. So what has she said about just the team's approach? Is it an approach thing? Is it just small sample because this is 5 games? But first time through, what was it that either got adjusted or changed, or what needs to be adjusted?
I think the biggest thing for us is that we just need to learn to make adjustments quicker and to really trust our game plan and to realize that we need to adjust quickly through the lineup. Sometimes it takes us a time through to figure it out, but I think it's going to be really important going forward that we attack early like we did so much last year. And I think we'll figure it out going forward.
Your underclassmen, I mean, even your sophomores had 24 games last year before things got canceled. I mean, how were they progressing given that the sample size and the things they've been able to do have just not been in the same number and frequency that the juniors and seniors have gotten?
I think getting any type of experience under your belt is really valuable. And I think that they have really grown since last year, even though it wasn't a typical season. And I think just the fact that they aren't freshmen anymore and that they have someone to guide under them has really helped them progress as players, even without the same amount of games. So I'm excited to see what they accomplish this year and how they develop into leaders.
Haley, you had originally, thought you had played your final game with Oregon softball. Did you kind of take it in with that first game and, appreciate the moment?
Absolutely. I think that was the biggest thing for me this weekend. There was definitely a little bit of nerves because it had been so long and I want to end my career the way that I want. But once I stepped on the field, it just felt like home again. And I just went back into stealth mode and did what I felt comfortable doing. So it felt really good to be back out there, and I'm not going to take it for granted at all.
That's pretty cool to hear from Haley Cruse talking about opening weekend for Oregon softball, and they're back in action with 2 against Fresno State on Saturday and on Sunday. Up next, going to go to the pitching side of things with Brooke Yanez, and then a few other notes from around Oregon athletics as well. And we got a big men's basketball game tonight. We're back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Most of my family, they never graduated high school, so I'm trying to break that barrier. My daughter Brooklyn was also a motivation for me to go back to school. Every day after work, went straight to school, and it paid off.
At age 26, Kareem finished his high school diploma.
I could not have done it alone. I see the future is really bright for me.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Both golf teams in action. Oregon Women's Golf closed out its first counting tournament of the 2021 season. with the 11 over 299. Now, the Ducks finished 4th overall at the Sun Devil Winter Classic. Men's golf finished its first of 2 tournaments in the Palm Springs area yesterday at the Prestige, and now they're going to jump right back into it tomorrow with another tournament. Men's golf getting a 2-for-1 on this road trip. Men's tennis continued a strong start to the season, a 6-1 win Wednesday night over Portland. Midweek victory, the Ducks improved to 5-0 under head coach Nils Schelander. Oregon softball's on the road. Fresno State, 2 games, Saturday and Sunday. Follow along at Oregon SB, of course, on Twitter. Brooke Yanez has been really, really good to start this season, as has the entire pitching staff in a 5-0 start. Ducks didn't allow a whole lot of runs. Brooke Yanez talking with the media, talking a little pitching for Oregon softball.
What can you describe kind of the range of emotions you probably went through? Just what was it like to just get back on the field? We talked about it beforehand, and you knew maybe how you thought it would feel, but just what was it like to get back out there? How'd you feel like you guys played?
Yeah, it was really fun. Having the freshmen here too, it was just really fun seeing them play and just being together again. I think was a really great feeling, and there were a little bit of nerves between us, but I think we handled it really well. We did good. We know what we need to work on to be better for this upcoming weekend and for the future. But yeah, all in all, it was a really great and fun weekend.
Last year, you and Samaria came in as very much needed reinforcements to basically Jordan and nobody else. This year, you have a stable of pitchers that is so deep. I mean, how much easier does that make it on you guys, knowing that, there's 4 or 5 of you that can put together like what you did in that second game and have a team perfect game like that?
Yeah, I think it's just incredible about the depth that we have. Every pitcher on this team, I feel like, is different in their own way, but when we combine together, it's pretty dangerous. And just having that extra help, I think it lifts a lot of weight off of our shoulders, but we still know what we need to do as individuals. And we just want to get a win for our team and do our job, basically. But yeah, really
everything that you like to hear from a pitcher, right? Just get a win for your team. And we've heard that more and more from Coach Lombardi, and we'll hear a little bit from Coach Lombardi on the show tomorrow before they hit the road and get to Fresno State. But the Ducks, Brooke Yanez, I think she said what we've been hearing from Coach Lombardi, that everybody's a little bit different. And seeing the limited video that was available for this past weekend, I felt the same way. It was like, yeah, man, this is a rotation that's got a lot of different looks. I think Oregon softball is going to do some pretty impressive things here coming up this season. Oh, I'm excited for tonight. Oregon men's basketball taking on Colorado. We've got a 7:30 pregame show for you across the Oregon Sports Network, talking with Dana Altman on the Toyota Coaches Corner, and then tip-off on ESPN2, Ducks and Buffs at 8 o'clock. This is a big one. If Oregon's able to get this win and then can take care of business against Utah, how big will that game now added on Monday against USCB? I cannot wait. 6 o'clock Monday, by the way. Oregon will take on USC on the road, the makeup game that's been added to the schedule. I busted out the undefeated Sox for the game tonight. Yeah, talk to you on Duck Insider tomorrow.
When you went car shopping, you meant business. You ace vehicle history searches and test drives. You out-salesman the salesman. Now you've got your wheels. If you manage that, you can get your retirement plan on track. Visiting aceyourretirement.org can help. With 401k tips and smart saving strategies, you'll have the info you need to get more for your future. Go to aceyourretirement.org, because when it comes to speeding past financial challenges, you're an ace. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.